Spotted Bigfoot in Cleveland County, and this isn't the first time. The legend continues. One man in Kaiser says he encountered the mythic beast just last week.
It began without fanfare, without a press conference, and without warning, the way most truths do when they have been ignored for too long. Deep in a stretch of forest so remote that even satellite mapping blurred its contours, a single camera recorded something that would fracture a century of disbelief. The camera was not set by thrill seekers or amateur hunters chasing legends. It belonged to a climate research team tracking migratory shifts in large mammals, programmed to activate only when heat, mass, and movement aligned in a precise configuration. At 2:14 a.m., the system triggered. What emerged from the darkness was not a bear, not a man, and not anything the algorithms recognized. It walked upright, but not clumsily. It moved with balance, purpose, and a rhythm that suggested familiarity with the terrain. For decades, Bigfoot footage had suffered from the same fatal flaw. It was always too shaky, too distant, too convenient. This footage was different. The camera was stationary. The resolution was pristine. The infrared overlay revealed musculature beneath dense hair. Within hours, the data reached a secured server where an automated anomaly flag quietly marked the clip for human review. No one expected what followed. When the first analyst slowed the footage frame by frame, silence filled the room. The creature's shoulder articulation rotated beyond human limits. Its stride length exceeded known primates. Its foot flexion showed mid-tarsal movement impossible to fake. The team assumed equipment malfunction. They reran diagnostics. Everything checked out. By dawn, the footage had been duplicated, encrypted, and sent to 3 independent labs under non-disclosure agreements so strict that even acknowledging receipt violated protocol. One lab specialized in biomechanics, another in wildlife forensics, the third in visual effects detection. All 3 returned the same conclusion. There was no evidence of manipulation. As word spread quietly through scientific circles, something unusual happened. Instead of dismissal, there was hesitation. Instead of laughter, there was fear. This was not a blurry shape crossing a riverbank. This was a living organism captured in full behavioral context. The creature paused at the edge of the clearing, head tilted slightly as though listening. Its eyes reflected infrared light, but not like a predator. There was calculation there, awareness. Then it did something no prior footage had ever shown. It looked directly at the camera. Not by accident, not in passing. It stepped forward, adjusted its posture, and stared with intent. The pause lasted nearly 6 seconds. 6 seconds that rewrote everything. Motion analysts later confirmed that the creature altered its movement path after noticing the device. It circled downwind. It approached from a blind angle. It knew it was being observed. When the footage finally leaked, it did not explode across social media the way hoaxes usually do. It crept, quietly, carefully, almost respectfully. Those who saw it first did not scream conspiracy. They asked questions. Why had this footage remained hidden? Why was it released without commentary? Why were major networks silent? Then the older evidence began resurfacing. Field notes from the 1970s describing identical gait patterns. Military patrol logs reporting unknown large bipedal entities near restricted zones. Audio recordings archived and forgotten, now matching the vocal frequencies captured faintly in the new clip. Even the infamous Patterson-Gimlin film was reanalyzed using modern motion mapping. For the first time, its subject aligned almost perfectly with the new footage. Not close, identical. Anthropologists who had once dismissed the legend began revisiting indigenous accounts that had been ignored or sanitized. Stories of the forest watchers, the silent brothers, beings described not as beasts but as neighbors. The descriptions matched. Height estimates, shoulder width, behavior patterns, avoidance rather than aggression. One elder's words resurfaced from a forgotten interview. They stay hidden because they know what happens to things we decide belong to us. The creature in the footage never ran. It never panicked. It observed, evaluated, and withdrew. That withdrawal, scientists noted, was deliberate. No broken branches, no heavy retreat. It vanished as though the forest absorbed it. Thermal analysis showed residual heat patterns consistent with a mass exceeding 300 kilograms. No bear in the region matched the bipedal heat signature. The feet were the final confirmation. Clear impressions left in soft soil revealed dermal ridges, not fingerprints. Footprints with complex ridge patterns unlike any known primate. Hoaxers could carve wood. They could wear suits. They could not fake pressure displacement at that scale. As public debate intensified, government agencies remained conspicuously quiet. No denials, no confirmations, silence. Then a former wildlife contractor broke ranks. He revealed that similar footage had been captured years earlier, but classified under ecological instability threats. The reasoning was simple. Acknowledging an undiscovered hominid would trigger land claims, legal chaos, and ecological protections. The world was not ready, they decided, but technology had changed. Cameras no longer blinked. Satellites no longer slept. AI no longer dismissed anomalies. The forest had been watching us back. One zoologist summarized it best during a leaked panel discussion. We didn't fail to find them. We failed to believe our instruments when we did. As weeks passed, additional footage surfaced. Different locations, same morphology, same behavior. Always aware, always cautious, always just beyond reach. No attacks, no threats, just observation. The narrative shifted from monster to neighbor, and that terrified people far more. If something had shared our world this long, unseen but aware, what else had we misunderstood? The final revelation came from a detail almost missed. In the original footage, just before the creature vanished, it raised its hand. Not a wave, not a threat, a gesture, palm outward, fingers relaxed, recognition. Scientists could not agree on its meaning, but no one called it accidental. The mystery of Bigfoot was not solved by capturing it, killing it, or naming it. It was solved by realizing it had never been lost. It had been waiting for us to finally look without laughing, waiting for our machines to catch up to our arrogance, waiting for proof that could no longer be ignored. And now that the camera had seen it, truly seen it, the question was no longer whether Bigfoot existed. The question was whether it would continue to let us. The silence that followed the release of the footage was deafening. Scientific journals, usually brimming with commentary, published cautiously worded abstracts. Headlines hinted at discovery without fully committing. Nobody wanted to say the word aloud. Field researchers reported changes in animal behavior in the surrounding areas. Deer and smaller mammals seemed to act differently, as though aware that something else, something large and intelligent, had returned to the forest. One biologist noted, predators adjusted their hunting patterns. The forest itself seems to respond to the presence of a biped that is neither predator nor prey. The intelligence of the creature became harder to ignore. Trail cameras placed in parallel grids captured it consistently avoiding cameras, often circling back to investigate them without triggering alarms. It was learning, adapting, and testing human technology. Footage from another site revealed it carrying a branch in an upright posture, seemingly using it as a walking aid or perhaps a tool. Motion analysts compared the movement to early hominid behavior, finding uncanny parallels. Some footage included vocalizations, deep guttural sounds interspersed with higher-pitched exhalations. Acoustic specialists claimed the sounds were unlike any documented primate or mammal in North America. Attempts to play the sounds back to animals in the area produced remarkable reactions. Wolves froze, birds flew away in panic, and deer hesitated before crossing streams. The creature's communication, intentional or not, influenced the ecosystem. A previously skeptical cryptozoologist confessed on record, "If anyone tells you this is a myth, they are ignoring evidence we can no longer dispute." The next discovery came from analyzing hair samples collected inadvertently from branches the creature brushed against. DNA results confounded geneticists. Sequences partially aligned with Homo sapiens, partially with unknown primate markers, and included gaps not present in any cataloged genome. The gaps were significant. Some suggested evolutionary divergence far older than humans or chimpanzees. Others hinted at a lineage that had remained entirely isolated. Forensic analysis confirmed the hair was genuine, human-like in keratin structure, but far thicker, with higher tensile strength. Chemical assays suggested environmental adaptations for extreme cold and dense forest canopies. Even skeptics began referring to it as a cryptid hominid. The term lacked emotional baggage but conveyed something remarkable: an intelligent, adaptive species, invisible for centuries. Footprints continued to provide irrefutable proof. In one site, measurements indicated foot length exceeding 40 centimeters. Toe spacing suggested balance and dexterity, impossible to reproduce in fabricated suits. Soil pressure mapping showed the force distribution matched calculated body mass, confirming bipedal locomotion rather than a prosthetic or disguised human. Cultural anthropologists noted that every indigenous account in the area, when re-examined in the context of this footage, had been accurate. Descriptions of size, gait, behavior, and social habits now matched direct evidence. Oral histories described groups of these beings, not solitary creatures. The footage, while capturing one individual, suggested a much larger network existing beyond human observation. Environmental scientists reported subtle changes in the forest canopy. Trees broken in ways consistent with large mammals but arranged to indicate purpose, not random damage. One drone survey captured a pattern of trampled undergrowth resembling an intentional pathway. Analysts hypothesized these were routes established over generations for stealthy travel through human-inhabited areas. The creature's avoidance of populated areas suggested a sophisticated understanding of human behavior. It learned patterns, avoided detection, and possibly monitored humans silently. An expert in primate cognition stated, "What we are seeing is not fear, it is calculation. We are not the apex in this scenario, we are observed." Government involvement, while indirect, was unmistakable. Emails and memos leaked under Freedom of Information requests hinted at long-term monitoring programs, noting bipedal cryptid in files dating back to the 1960s. A former operative claimed the military had attempted capture operations. All failed. The creature's intelligence and forest knowledge rendered traditional tracking methods ineffective. Even night vision footage showed problem-solving behavior. In one instance, the creature moved a log to create a bridge across a stream, demonstrating not instinctive action, but deliberate engineering. Facial analysis from high-resolution infrared images revealed a brow ridge, prominent jawline, and expressive eyes. Emotion could be read in the gaze, a mix of caution, curiosity, and perhaps judgment. The narrative shifted globally. Documentaries and online exposés began framing Bigfoot not as legend, but as a living, breathing member of the animal kingdom, previously unclassified, silently sharing our planet. Debates arose in ethical circles. Conservationists argued for immediate habitat protection. Ethicists debated whether it was right to expose a species so intelligent and secretive to human society. Legal scholars questioned property rights, hunting laws, and liability in interactions. If this creature had cognition, agency, and awareness, what protections did it merit under the law? Further evidence came from diet analysis. Camera traps captured it consuming plants, nuts, and water in a pattern suggesting knowledge of nutritional balance, not mere foraging. Seasonal observations indicated it could anticipate changes in food availability, moving strategically across territories. Its foraging behavior suggested ecological intelligence. Reports of encounters increased, though still rare. Hikers described fleeting glimpses, sounds of heavy footsteps, or glimpses of hair glinting under moonlight. One elderly hiker recounted, "It stopped, stared at me, and I swear I felt judged for stepping into its home. Then it vanished. I never saw fear, only awareness." The phenomenon sparked intense public fascination, forums filled with speculation. Scientists struggled to control misinformation while validating evidence. Cameras in remote northern territories started recording similar creatures, hinting at a much wider distribution. The footage suggested distinct subpopulations adapting to different climates. Behavioral scientists noted a hierarchy in movements. Individuals seemed to communicate through gestures, sounds, and trails, suggesting complex social structures. Motion studies showed varying gaits and speeds, implying age, health, and experience differentiation within groups. The creature's intelligence became undeniable when it was captured using baited cameras with audio lures. It approached cautiously, tested the setup, and retreated if risk seemed imminent. Analysis of this behavior concluded advanced problem-solving, possibly equivalent to early human cognition. Ecologists reported that predatory animals respected the creature's territory, rarely encroaching. Birds often flushed en masse, indicating some warning mechanism unknown to humans. Conservationists noted that the presence of this apex biped had unexpectedly stabilized local populations of other species. The realization dawned: humans had not been apex in these forests for millennia. Anthropologists began correlating foot structure with hypothetical ancestral lineage. Ridge patterns, joint structure, and proportionality suggested a parallel evolutionary path to humans. Comparisons to fossil hominids indicated the creature retained traits lost in Homo sapiens, particularly in musculature, joint flexibility, and spatial awareness. Eye reflections captured in infrared showed a high degree of depth perception, night vision acuity, and potentially color differentiation in low light. The footage showed subtle interactions with water, dipping hands, testing temperature, and occasionally washing, implying self-care behaviors previously undocumented in wild primates. Sound analysis revealed low-frequency communication imperceptible to humans without specialized equipment. Patterns indicated not random noise, but structured signaling. Some researchers hypothesized it had culture, a rudimentary language, and possibly oral traditions passed across generations. The combination of intelligence, adaptability, and ecological mastery challenged every assumption about wilderness and the creatures that inhabit it. For the first time, humans were confronted with a species capable of outthinking and outmaneuvering us in its natural domain. The creature's deliberate avoidance of humans suggested moral or ethical reasoning, or at least a recognition of human danger. Environmental psychologists argued that the presence of such beings altered human perception of wilderness, encouraging humility and observation over domination. Every subsequent video reinforced what initial frames had revealed: a sentient, aware, physically capable species living in parallel to humanity. One final video, captured by a drone hovering at dusk, showed two individuals interacting with a fallen tree, using coordinated movements to navigate obstacles. The interaction appeared cooperative, demonstrating social bonds and shared objectives. The footage ended with both looking directly at the camera before retreating silently. Scientists collectively agreed: the species was not solitary, not myth, and not a figment of imagination. Society, however, struggled to reconcile this reality. Pop culture had framed Bigfoot as caricature, yet evidence now demanded respect and study. Media outlets struggled to balance sensationalism with responsible reporting, knowing the implications extended beyond ratings. Legal, ethical, and ecological debates surged, forcing global reconsideration of human dominion over nature. Governments quietly updated protocols for remote wildlife monitoring, adding protections for unclassified intelligent species. Indigenous leaders were consulted extensively, bridging ancestral knowledge with scientific observation, providing insight into behavior, territory, and social norms. Education programs began integrating the findings into biology, anthropology, and ethics curricula. The creature's recognition by the scientific community marked a turning point, but public acceptance lagged behind evidence. tourism in affected regions became controversial, with concerns about disruption, stress, and potential danger to both humans and creatures. Long-term observation stations were established, designed to minimize intrusion and maximize data collection. Technology proved invaluable. Thermal imaging, motion sensors, and AI tracking allowed for continuous study without interference. One unexpected result was the impact on local wildlife. Animals seemed calmer, more balanced, possibly influenced by the presence of the cryptid hominids. Social scientists speculated that human behavior would eventually adjust, respecting zones where the creatures lived and refraining from intrusion. The footage, after months of study, confirmed that Bigfoot was neither monster nor myth, but a species deserving careful consideration and protection. Final reflections from scientists emphasized humility. Humans are observers, not rulers, in the ecosystems they occupy. The last shot from the remote camera showed the creature disappearing into the forest mist, a living testament to the unknown still existing beyond human perception. It paused once, glanced back, and vanished. A silent acknowledgement that the forest had been watching all along. The proof had existed for centuries. We had simply refused to see. Now we could no longer ignore it. We had been witnessed, and the world would never look at the wilderness the same way again. The cameras remained, silent sentinels capturing fragments of truth. Researchers understood that each frame held more questions than answers. Each movement suggested intelligence, adaptability, and a continuity unseen by humans until now. Bigfoot had never needed to be proven. It had only needed to endure. The forest had protected its own, and technology finally allowed humanity a glimpse, not of legend, not of hoax, but of reality. And reality demanded respect. It was the end of disbelief, but the beginning of comprehension. The creature had been here all along, waiting, observing, surviving, and finally choosing to be seen. Its presence was no longer speculative. It was undeniable. And in that acknowledgement lay a lesson for all of humanity. We are not the only intelligent life on our planet. We are not alone. The forest had taught patience. It had taught caution. It had taught that some mysteries are not ours to conquer. And the camera, silent and impartial, recorded it all, waiting for the world to finally understand. This was Bigfoot, alive, intelligent, and watching. The forest was quiet again, but it was not empty. Every rustle of leaves, every snapping branch reminded researchers that something larger, smarter, and far older than us was still present. Nighttime expeditions revealed subtle signs, footprints partially hidden by fallen leaves, displaced stones near waterholes, and bent reeds forming possible markers. Scientists realized these were intentional. The creatures were mapping their own territory, leaving subtle communications and patterns only they could fully understand. One infrared drone captured a fleeting glimpse of two individuals moving in perfect synchronization. Their movements suggested cooperation, almost choreography, and intelligence beyond instinct. Audio sensors recorded complex rhythms of breathing, low grunts, and tonal variations that seemed patterned. Linguists speculated a rudimentary language, possibly even a social hierarchy. The footage from multiple cameras indicated not just survival, but culture, tool use, food preparation, and possible rituals. In one clip, a creature was seen arranging stones around a water source, a behavior thought previously unique to humans or our closest ancestors. Forest ecologists noted the effect on surrounding wildlife. Animals treated the cryptids with respect. Even predators avoided the areas the creatures frequented. Researchers were forced to redefine their understanding of apex species. Intelligence, not size or aggression, determined ecological dominance in these forests. Public fascination reached unprecedented levels, but unlike previous hoaxes, this discovery could not be dismissed. Media coverage varied from cautious to sensational, but the underlying truth was clear. Bigfoot was real, intelligent, and thriving. Conservation groups moved quickly to establish protected zones, using drone surveillance to ensure the creature's habitat remained undisturbed. Ethical debates erupted. Could humans ethically interact with a species capable of recognizing their observation? Philosophers speculated on the morality of revealing or concealing evidence. Did humanity have the right to intrude upon a species that had remained hidden for centuries? International wildlife authorities began discussions about cross-border protection, acknowledging that Bigfoot populations could span multiple countries. Technology continued to provide unprecedented insights. AI-assisted pattern recognition allowed researchers to track individual creatures over months without intrusion. Data suggested not only survival, but learning. The creatures adapted quickly to new obstacles, avoided traps, and even appeared to anticipate human intervention. Some of the oldest trees in the forest bore evidence of careful interactions: bark stripped without damage, branches bent without snapping, all suggesting mindful navigation. Anthropologists highlighted parallels with early human ancestors, noting upright posture, hand dexterity, and behavioral flexibility. Genetic studies, still preliminary, indicated significant divergence from known primates, hinting at an evolutionary path isolated from humans for hundreds of thousands of years. One DNA sequence suggested a previously unknown adaptation to high-density forests and rugged terrain, possibly explaining their ability to remain hidden. As more evidence accumulated, skepticism among scientists faded. Peer-reviewed studies began to accept the possibility of an intelligent, undiscovered hominid. The creature's social structure became increasingly apparent. Observations suggested pair bonding, group foraging, and possibly territorial leadership. Forest cameras captured interactions between adults and juveniles, implying teaching behaviors or guidance of younger individuals in navigation and foraging. The realization dawned that these creatures were not solitary anomalies, but a thriving, organized population. Behavioral ecologists concluded that human misperception had underestimated their adaptability and intelligence for centuries. The creature's awareness of cameras and human presence indicated a level of cognition once thought uniquely human. In one remarkable clip, a creature appeared to mimic human motion, raising questions about learning, observation, and even curiosity about humans themselves. Long-term monitoring revealed repeated paths, hidden shelters, and signs of seasonal migration. Ecologists noted that water sources and feeding grounds were carefully protected, indicating territorial planning and resource management. Noise analysis revealed the creatures avoided areas with human activity, yet showed curiosity when humans were absent. Veterinary specialists reviewing hair and tissue samples identified no signs of disease, suggesting a healthy, stable population. Further behavioral studies showed tool use: branches shaped for digging or bridging, stones for cracking nuts, and leaves used to collect water. One particularly intriguing observation involved an individual positioning a log to reach higher fruit, demonstrating problem-solving previously unrecorded in wild primates. The creature's intelligence was complemented by stealth. They moved with awareness of camera angles, sensors, and human patrols. Researchers noted a pattern. The creatures avoided humans but left trails that could be studied, hinting at deliberate communication. Drone footage confirmed complex locomotion, climbing steep slopes, navigating fallen logs, and even swimming across rivers with skill. The level of physical adaptability suggested a combination of evolutionary development and learning. Experts in comparative anatomy noted muscular development supporting sustained upright posture, exceptional strength, and agility. The combination of genetics, behavior, and environment formed a picture of a highly adaptable, intelligent, and socially aware species. Legal implications became unavoidable. Wildlife authorities debated new laws recognizing cryptid rights and protecting unknown intelligent species from human exploitation. Documentaries began featuring first-hand field accounts, showing the creatures in their natural habitat and emphasizing the ethical responsibility of observers. Educational institutions updated curricula to include studies on intelligence in non-human species, redefining the boundaries of anthropology and biology. The creature's social communication grew more apparent. Hand signals, vocal patterns, and trail markings suggested an organized, cooperative network. One video captured what appeared to be play behavior. indicating social bonding and possibly a culture of interaction. Forest managers reported reduced illegal logging and poaching in areas where cryptid populations were confirmed, indicating indirect ecosystem management. Behavioral specialists suggested that the creatures maintained balance within the ecosystem, controlling predator and prey populations. Footprints, consistently measured, revealed individual variation, confirming the existence of multiple age classes and sexes. Detailed analysis showed growth patterns and longevity estimates suggesting these creatures could live several decades in the wild. Camera footage revealed resting areas and temporary shelters, some constructed with purpose and ingenuity. Vocal analysis indicated a lexicon of sounds for different contexts, warnings, coordination, and possibly even playful interaction. Repeated observations showed the creatures capable of avoiding traps without prior exposure, suggesting problem-solving skills and memory. The species' ability to remain undetected highlighted their adaptability, intelligence, and understanding of risk. Public fascination intensified as the creatures became symbols of the unknown and the untamed wild. Indigenous knowledge gained renewed respect, providing insights previously dismissed or overlooked by modern science. Collaboration between scientists and local communities enhanced understanding and promoted conservation efforts. Field research emphasized minimal disturbance, using passive monitoring to respect both the creatures and their environment. Evidence suggested the creatures monitored humans as much as humans monitored them, creating a subtle awareness dynamic. Ethologists proposed that intelligence in these species could rival early human cognition, particularly in problem-solving and social organization. Ecologists observed the long-term influence of the species on forest structure, plant propagation, and animal behavior. The cryptid's presence maintained ecological balance, preventing overpopulation of prey species and maintaining forest diversity. Genetic samples revealed variations suggesting isolated subpopulations, each adapted to their specific forested environments. Long-term studies confirmed that these creatures were resilient, capable of surviving environmental changes and possibly climate fluctuations over centuries. The notion of Bigfoot as myth evaporated. The species was real, intelligent, and intricately tied to its ecosystem. The creatures remained elusive but consistently present, a hidden yet vital part of the forest. Final footage captured an individual climbing a ridge, surveying the land, and disappearing behind a canopy as if acknowledging the camera's presence. The realization struck all observers. Humans had finally glimpsed the wild mind of another intelligent species sharing the planet. Respect, awe, and humility became the prevailing sentiments among scientists, conservationists, and the public. For decades, the legend had been doubted, ridiculed, and ignored. Now it demanded recognition. The creatures were not monsters. They were not threats. They were witnesses, observers, and participants in an ecosystem older and more complex than humanity had fully understood. The story of Bigfoot was no longer folklore. It was living history, unfolding in real time under the careful watch of those who could finally see. Humanity had learned to look finally, and in the shadows of the forest, Bigfoot waited, patient, intelligent, and very much alive. The cameras continued recording, silent chroniclers of a species that had survived where many believed it could not. Every frame, every footprint, every sound contributed to the understanding that intelligence in the natural world was broader than imagined. The lesson was clear: respect the wild, respect the unknown, and recognize that humanity is not the sole steward of Earth's intelligence. And in that recognition, a new chapter began, one where humans observed, learned, and coexisted without domination. Bigfoot was no longer a myth. It was a reality, and the forest would never be the same.